Hey YouTubers, I need your help with a problem I'm having. Down here I have soldered previously a joint, and I'm having trouble because all my engines except one go over it just fine. I'll show you here in a second. So we've got a Kato GE, just fine. And then I'll show you a couple more here, and then I'll show you my problem engine. Next up is an Atlas SD50, just fine, 6-axle. And here comes, I think this is like maybe even a Bachmann, a little 2-axle. So here comes my problem engine. You would think a beautiful Kato E9 like this would work just fine. Oh, that figures. Well, apparently the little things I did last night to fix it actually worked. So I went to bed somewhat frustrated. Anyway, this was my first attempt at soldering. It's ugly. I offset it like Vinny showed me, BNSF 6951. And every engine went over it fine, except for my beautiful 951. It would come off. It would come right here, and this truck would come down, and then that one would come too. My other Kato E8s did just fine. So I was trying to think if I'd done anything to this engine, but I looked underneath and it had plenty of play. I thought maybe the bottom of the ladders were interfering with the trucks, and they didn't. So I don't know what. But what I did last night was watched it coming at me, and it shifted down. So this is the area, and here's probably the inherent problem. This is where my little extension begins, and it comes out beyond the frame of the layout, and there is flexibility in it. You can see how the cardboard moves. So I put another spacer. Actually, it's a little track cleaner. I put it up there, tilted up, made sure that the track was level. And then even though it's ugly, it's smooth. I resoldered it yesterday and dremeled it smooth. And I put where there weren't ties, I put ties in and snapped them in so that it kept the same gauge. Because I was really getting annoyed because this beautiful engine that I use for the excursion train, since it's 951, and if I replicate, 60s and up to 71 UP trains, it ran fine in the other direction. And an old model railroader told me years ago, you should be able to run any of your engines, any of your cars, anywhere on your layout without fail. And if something happens, fix it, because it will never ever fix it by itself. And that's great advice. So apparently I did stuff right. We'll finish up with a nice, let's put a nice 90s train going on here. Forget the 90s. We're going to go modern so I can put on my pretty new baggage car. Now watch these P-42s derail. But we're climbing through the Cascade Sub, somewhere around Odell Lake. Of course, they pop off. Okay, back to the drawing board. Okay, so I went back to my old track geometry inspection tour days. I raised up the outside rail a little bit here. We've got the number 11 sitting here waiting, so we'll take a look here. Eyeball number 11. As you can see, my little spur off to the sawmill is orphaned. There's just no way to put it on reliably in the middle of that curve. Okay, so high from the Oregon Cascades, which should start getting snow tomorrow. Oh, the Pacific Northwest chapter has some private cars on the end of that one. Very nice. We'll talk to you later, folks.